Whether you live in fear of your husband or your partner coming home, or whether he or she actually hits you, you do suffer serious, significant damage.
A man beating a wife, he may even bruise the eye or the nose. That is a crime.
Men refusing to look after their children, men throwing the women out of the houses, men not providing for the women's needs, men beating the women.
You see someone with swollen face, bleeding from the nose, then cuts on the head.
The woman will be bleeding, you get so many cuts on the body, will be bleeding. Sometimes even the woman is pregnant, then the man will be butchering the stomach and everything to maybe get the baby aborted. Sometimes the woman will come with bruises on the face, with a cut and all the blood oozing from her body.
For me, the issue is what cultural practices are we talking about? Cultural practices which allows husbands to rape wives. Cultural practices which say that it's all right for a man to slap a woman. Cultural practices which say that errant children can be maltreated.
Omwa omutimi se nkwara ne ya ama nkwara ne nya homfa ahodie obi won so a awaresem omo no nanso obese na ne ya ase de be ya oba no ebe ha ono a se minya o wa na oboko
na me pia bonchena ansa me be fi kwa ne ko be du ba ko uri mo bobo ya ko homa oba woni na anse abufu aba etoso biu na me tiatia ne pa etoso biu enkran so na me hye enkran no so eden pa nti bibi wo kwa se ya na ma me so na se abufu aba.
Konwonum die no ane yedi die mu na dia wase ne be sommu na akolai na wo mi ya aduane na wo sommu ne wete sa na me ne no ade afi so.
We have a situation where a lot of women have their earnings taken away from them by their partners. We have a situation where women cannot associate with other men and other people because their partners refuse them the right to do so.
A man bent about 28 pieces of cloth, half of them being new ones which have not been sewn. He bent all these things with acid.
Asin ho ke fon yi o manu la le camera wo ho la mai no na wo ka fo bi o amade ke abi la ni ko mengo apon la wo ho le ke yo mengo bi o fo ka ke lu enyo pe apa ya ngo yo epan keke ni na ngo fesi o ajese.
Cases of psychological violence, where the man refuses to eat the woman's food, where the man takes on different girlfriends, where the man also would not speak to the woman for days. There are other issues like sexual violence. For example, you have people defiling young girls.
Violence is not only physical, it comes down psychologically as well. Men putting down women by the kind of remarks to make to them in the workplace, in the home, children suffering because the father cannot come up with money and they end up being the victims of it, as if it's their fault that the fathers don't have the money or the mothers don't have the money.
Tafe so be me bi wo ho a woni wo ba na awo onhwe ne ba no.
But there are instances where you see women also picking up their husbands and flinging them to the floor. That too is assault. And when these things take place inside, you call domestic violence. I've heard of marital rape, even long before I became a law student.
If the woman is sick, the man, you have to have sympathy with the woman, because all of us, we are the sons of God.
No dear, I idea that if you say a debut or na oba no only feeling, a be no on tiapo. Ah, obey yes, adian. And so obi or how back at Rebemana on tiasia mauda. A son so no naginess in say, the assessor way and way, can be as obey.
We know that every 4 weeks a woman is in the same position where she can't allow this to happen, and the man he was a little out of his head and he wants this thing to be done during that time. The woman says no. That's a good reason from the woman. It's a very good reason. But apart from that, if the woman is not healthy, maybe you got malaria or something, or you got so much in the brain, the head, you can't do all these things unless the brain is ready. The whole body, the whole psyche must be prepared for an act before it becomes meaningful. So if for some reason the woman says, today I'm not in the mood, for these reasons, for this reason, one of my friends has just been killed in the London blast, the thing is in my head, I can't sleep. Now, these are good reasons.
Reflection on our culture, because a lot of the time it's the victim that gets blamed, and it doesn't matter what age that victim is.
Maybe it is some of these traditional, or let's just say traditional thoughts, thinking, that has gone to a large extent to influence how we look at women generally. It hasn't helped us.
The society is so disillusioned, when the society is so frustrated, you find that those acts of violence that are based on gender relationships take on an additional meaning, because then women tend to be blamed for all the ills that go on in society, within households and in the public sphere.
yiri borda ta ka bon tista nahangna wahalan tahalna anta hado ma bai shi ta wunda ba sabra ka kyan ka tinyala wahala ba shaka so ka ba sabra do ma yiri go ka pama go bana ko sabra.
There's always justification being thrown at you that, well, women need to be beaten up, or if somebody is your wife, the Bible says she should submit. Therefore, if she doesn't cook your food well, or she delays your meal, or doesn't iron your shirt well, you can't find your socks, or she talks too much, so you're entitled to beat her up or to discipline her, as it's called.